Are you a California veteran looking to buy a home? Well, in this video, we're going to go over some of the loan program options that are available to veterans in California. So let's get to it right now. All right, so some of the options that you're going to have as a veteran, you have a lot more options than most people. One of the options obviously is going to be a conventional loan. Usually you're looking at, a minimum credit score of 620 on up. There are exceptions to all of these rules. Just so you understand the process, a VA loan or an FHA loan is basically a conventional loan that's backed by either the Federal Housing Administration or the Veterans Administration. Real quick, if this is your first time to the channel, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be the first to know about the real estate market in Southern California. My name is Steve Batiste and I'm the broker owner of Next Home West Realty, and we get calls, emails, and texts every single day from people just like you looking to make their move into Southern California. So if that's you, don't be shy. Give me a call, send me a text, or shoot me an email. I'd love to help you make a smooth transition into the area. A lot of the requirements for these loans are going to be pretty similar. VA loan, you're looking at a minimum of a 620 credit score, but you get, zero down. You still are going to have to pay the closing costs for the loan. So usually it's going to be between 2 and 3%. So you're still going to have some money up front. In a really strong seller's market, a lot of people are advised against taking VA loans because if the house is worth $600,000 and we have a lot of offers coming in on this house and it gets raised up to $650, now the veteran's going to have the difference between the $600 and the $650. If it appraises for $650, great. If it appraises for $600, you got to come up with that $50,000 plus your closing costs. So, if you're a veteran, you're trying to get in with zero out of pocket in a strong seller's market, it's going to make it a little tougher. You're right now, what's going on in the market, you're pretty safe, doing VA loans and getting those offers accepted. But just keep in mind, once the rates go down, once the market takes off again like it did a couple of years ago, and it will, it's a cycle. It does this all the time. You're gonna have a little bit harder time with a VA loan. That's not to say that it can't happen, because it happens all the time, but just keep that in mind. FHA loan, you're looking at a 580 credit score with 3.5% down. You can go down to a 500 credit score with 10% down, but again, most lenders are going to want to look for, they're looking for a 620 credit score. So, when you're doing a VA loan or an FHA loan, those loans are, the same bank's doing it. You just have the VA backing the loan. So their requirements are going to be based on what the bank has to is offering you. Okay. So if the bank requires a 680, for your loan, you're going to have a 680. And then again, you have other factors in there. If you have late payments on your credit, if you have a high debt to income ratio, meaning, let's say you make $10,000 a month, just easy math for me. Let's say you make $10,000 a month and you have $5,500 going out every month. So now you're at 55.45, right? So you possibly could get a loan at that, but the banks want to see less. So let's say you make $10,000 a month and you have $2,000 going out. Now you have 80%, basically 80%, you're probably going to be better off to get a loan like that. So, what you want to do before you go to get a loan is you want to start paying off a lot of the credit cards and get rid of a lot of that debt, so your debt to income ratio goes up. There is another loan that, I wanted to talk to you about. That's a CalVet loan. So the state of California has their own loan program for veterans. The way it works is, instead of going to a private lender, the state of California is actually loaning you the money. So there are no credit score requirements or FICO requirements. You can go directly to a CalVet lender or CalVet approved lender. If you need a number for a CalVet approved lender, or you want to talk directly to CalVet, give me a call. I'll get you their number. But it's a lot more lenient. So if you've been disapproved for a VA loan in the past, you can try the CalVet loan. The CalVet is directly underwritten, meaning that they actually look at the file and they judge it on a case-by-case basis. So if you have late payments in the past, and you can explain what happened, a lot of times they can overlook that. Now, if you have like a lot of late payments and your credit's like really, really bad, you're still going to have problems. But if you're, on the cusp, you're right there, you have one late payment on your credit and you can't get a VA loan through a conventional lender, give me a call and we can set you up. I'm not a lender, so a lot of this information, this video, is, and just with anything, it's subject to change. You're going to want to verify with a lender or a CalVet approved lender if that's the route you want to go. But the CalVet loan is in the past, people used to shy away from it. A lot of realtors would be like, oh, you don't want to take that offer. It's a CalVet loan, But they have changed the way they work now, and they're turning over loans in the normal 30-day period, 30-day escrow period. So you're pretty safe going that route. Your agent might have to educate the other agent on the other end of the transaction, because they still might be under the whole, and I found a lot of times, in Orange County specifically. Now in Riverside County, a lot of agents out there understand how a VA loan works, but in Orange County, a lot of agents do still understand, but I find a lot more that I've dealt with in Orange County don't really understand how a VA loan works, and they recommend against it to their clients. And I've seen this numerous times. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, that's not true." Okay, maybe not, but I've seen it a lot. So you're going to want to work with, if you're a veteran, you're going to want to work with someone who understands that VA loan process or the CalVet loan process. The CalVet loan is a good loan because it is basically the state of California services a loan the whole time. They don't sell your loan off, so it's a little more forgiving than other loan programs. So one other thing about the CalVet program is that they do have a 3% down payment assistance program, to help you pay some of those fees that you're going to have to pay anytime you buy a house. So keep that in mind too. They also have a direct ability to underwrite and know the file. A lot of lenders, what they'll do is they'll run it through their computer model, and if their computer model says nope, you're not good to go, you're done, and then you have to try different lenders, see. But a lot of them use kind of the same modeling, so it's a little bit more stringent, and for good reason. The state of California can afford to, run this program because it is the state. It's, it's funded by the taxpayers, and, it's the whole point of the program is to help get veterans into homes. So they are a lot more lenient than conventional lenders. So, if you're on the cusp, if you're having a hard time getting qualified, conventionally, give it a shot. You never know. If you're interested in any of these loan programs, you want to, know anything else about it, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I would love to help you. I love working with veterans. So, anything you need, just hit me up. Thanks for watching.